Crown has you covered. Start your day with the first word. Cincinnati's only morning sports show. Power through midday with the working lunch. Cincinnati business talk that keeps you in the know. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city. And the Rebound Rundown covers every corner of the college basketball scene in the tri-state and beyond. This is The Crown. Built for Cincinnati. First word for your morning sports. The working lunch for business that hits home. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city. And Rebound Rundown for college hoops. This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
It is midday in the Queen City. Business is booming. We've got the man who's at the heart of it all in the Cincinnati Regional Chamber coming on the show today. Let's do lunch. Cincinnati is a city that means business. Fortune 500 company HQs, renowned institutions like Children's Hospital and the Cincinnati Zoo, and letters that everyone here knows: TQL, GE, CVG, UC, and X. It's also a city that's large enough for new ideas to take root and grow. You know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, and you're in business. I'm Jack Crumley, and this is The Working Lunch. Hello, welcome to The Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley. This is our hour-long business show here on The Crown, where we bring you headlines and stories about various business activities all throughout the tri-state area. We also bring you interviews with business owners and local leaders, and we do our best to squeeze in maybe a bite to eat or something to drink before you go back to face the afternoon. Glad to have you here on a Monday. Starting things off from a big Father's Day weekend here in the tri-state area, you had the Savannah Bananas playing 3 sold-out games at Great American Ballpark. There were watch parties for the World Cup at the Banks and just about any other place that serves drinks and has a TV. A lot else going on for Father's Day weekend here. Some big movie releases over the weekend as well. Let's take a look at the box office with Toy Story 5 just dominating its release, making $17 million over its 3-day weekend. That's $160 million. I'm skipping ahead of myself with Disclosure Day. $160 million for Toy Story 5. That is the best opening for that franchise. A 5th movie bringing in that kind of an opening weekend is setting a new record for the franchise. Really, really impressive work there. $312 million worldwide. That is the second best Pixar opening ever, right behind Inside Out 2. That's going to keep on going. Disclosure Day had a 62% drop from its opening weekend. This is, of course, Spielberg's latest movie. His previous sci-fi films had better second weekend drop-offs than that, so not great news. And for a lot of other directors or studios, losing 62% coming from an opening weekend to a second really wouldn't be that bad. This is a little more disappointing because of the names involved. And then at number 3, boy, the little engine that could, Obsession, bringing in another $14 million over its weekend. That brings it to $216 million total domestically, $333 million worldwide for a movie that was very cheap to produce. Toy Story 5 likely going to have some momentum to make the most money again next weekend. It's going to be up against new releases from Warner Brothers with Supergirl and Paramount with what they say is going to be the last Jackass movie, but I think they've been saying that since the first one came out. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. One other note about Obsession. Again, just this little movie that could. Something to keep in mind here. You know, the number of original films that gross $200 million domestically is a pretty thin list. Some pretty rarefied air that now Obsession has gotten into. Coco did it in 2017. And then the last time it happened after that was for Ryan Coogler's Sinners, which, of course, went on to win a ton of awards. It's pretty rarefied air. Obsession didn't have a big-name director on it the way that Ryan Coogler's Sinners did. Obsession, the 5th highest grossing film of the year domestically, 8th highest worldwide. And I know there were some reports about that studio passing on some of those earnings now to a cast and crew that signed up for what they thought was going to be a pretty low budget thing. Cincinnati business headlines moving through on this Monday. There are some low-key grocery store wars going on here in Cincinnati. Kroger has announced a multi-million-dollar set of renovations to multiple spots. That all comes in the face of chains like Publix opening multiple locations throughout northern Kentucky. And now Aldi has its own promotion going on with the Aldi Blind Box. That is a thing that's been getting more popular in recent years. You buy a package that's all sealed up, and then it's a fun thrill to open and see what you got. The unboxing video craze has been going on for a while now on YouTube and TikTok, and Aldi now getting in on the action. The Aldi Blind Box promises fan favorite grocery items from multiple departments and some surprises as well. Every day between now, today, and June 25th, you can claim an Aldi Blind Box on Where else? AldiBlindBox.com. That starts at noon, so it just opened up for the first day today. Those are available while supplies last. Again, every day now through the 25th. They've got a snack box, a fiber box, which is really exciting for those of us who are now of a certain age, a protein box, and also a mystery box. Have fun with that and expect to see your feed populated by a lot of unboxing with grocery items in the not-too-distant future. The Cincinnati Business Courier providing some details now about what's being described as somewhat of a mystery development in Butler County called Project Clear. This is some kind of distribution facility that is planned for Monroe near the outlets that'll involve a current company in Fairfield changing locations to Monroe. This is a roughly 400,000 square foot facility that's being developed by Scannell Properties out of Indianapolis. That is a picture there of one of Scannell's warehouses in Minneapolis, hence the snow. The Courier got city documents out of Monroe promising nearly 100 new jobs, over $6 million in annual payroll, and more. Construction there projected to be done by next fall, with contracts currently out for bid, and we are waiting on some specifics like what the name of that facility will be. And also, wrapping up headlines on this Monday, we did get word out of Covington back on Friday, literally just before we went on the air, that the Madison Theater had abruptly closed. A post on Facebook by management of the theater said that every option to keep the doors open was exhausted. The Post says the issue all stemmed from an incident where a guest fell on a step, and then the theater's insurance provider ultimately dropped their coverage. They say that they were talking with building ownership, trying to find replacement coverage, all in some conversations in good faith. They say their lease was terminated, though. The building was locked without warning. Now, there was also a report that came out in City Beat the day before that the Madison was no longer going to be hosting college parties. That, after a crowd of roughly 1,000 people caused a bit of an issue on May 30th. That issue ended with Covington police using pepperball guns and other crowd control equipment. The Madison Theater Facebook post about the closure does not cite that as a reason for things being shut down, though. The Post finishes by describing what a dream the venue has been. It encourages folks to seek out independent venues and find local artists performing in the area. Certainly no shortage of that, but always good to keep that on the radar. That all leads us into today's Big Bite. You know, there were so many people who asked me if I had seen the announcement that the Madison Theater had closed. I was really surprised by it. I think it really goes to show the level of commitment to community that we see in this area and the fact that people do see things and care about what's going on. The Madison Theater has been running in Covington since 1912, when it opened as the Lyric Theater. That's a very historical photo right there. That's when it was a silent movie house. I believe there were some vaudeville performances as well, though back then it was just called being a theater. Not to be confused with the Lyric Theater on Vine Street in Cincinnati that opened as a vaudeville spot a few years earlier in 1906. Covington's Lyric Theater started showing talkies as movie technology evolved and was one of the premier entertainment venues because it seated more than 1,000 people. A publication called Moving Picture World described the place as having soft colors, making one feel as though they're walking into a beautifully appointed home instead of a theater, calling it homey. It was renamed the Wilson Theater in 1928, and in 1942 it was renamed the Madison Theater. Now, we do have some historical pictures of when it was the Madison Theater. The new place, there we go, right there. If you can zoom in, please do. I don't know if you can tell, the new place really plays up the ventilation system as a way specifically to allow smoking without annoying others. Shout out to cinematreasures.org for having a really nice collection of historic pictures that came in handy for this segment. The theater suffered a devastating fire just 2 years later. Don't know if that was from all the smoking or not. It was rebuilt in 1946 with a streamlined Art Deco modern style, blending early cinema history with mid-century design. I do want to point out this is an arts and performance business that already had 30 years of history in Covington. The power of movies and performances as a business model really showing through there, even though we're not talking about New York City or Chicago or even the city of Cincinnati itself. We're talking about Covington. During the golden era of Hollywood, Covington had at least 30 movie theaters of various sizes, though the Madison was the largest. On that last ad we just had up there, that was from 1947 after the place was rebuilt, and you could see on that trade publication it really played up the fire safety elements of the redone space. Right there, fiberglass fabrics, finely spun inorganic glass filaments, as naturally fireproof as your drinking glass with three-way fire protection. That's cool. We talk a lot on this show about the ebb and flow and life cycles of businesses. The Madison Theater ran for decades, but in the 1970s, it closed then and sat vacant for a few years, with demolition somewhat always on the horizon, being talked about and planned more than once during that time. But it was bought by Esther Johnson from the city of Covington, and then it was rehabbed over the course of about 20 years to the tune of about $3 million. The newly renovated Madison Theater reopened on New Year's Eve, just in time to welcome in the 21st century. And that set the stage for the venue now for its more recent history. That's a picture of Esther Johnson right there in front of her newly purchased and in the process of being renovated building. The Madison Theater has hosted all kinds of performances over the last 25 years. Bands like Hasty Dixie, Danzig. You had the Killers, Cake, and Garbage, George Clinton. They all performed there just in the year 2005. A secondary spot called Madison Live opened in 2015, offering a smaller option, but it was all still connected through the Madison Theater itself. Madison Theater Program Director Frank Hillfield gave an interview to Northern Kentucky Magazine just in 2023, where he talked about all the different acts that have played in the Madison Theater over the years, and also talked about how the Madison works as part of an economic ecosystem in Covington. We've talked about this before with the way Blink brings people to downtown Cincinnati. More on that a little bit later in the show. Hufeld said a lot of people who come to the concerts, they'll go and grab dinner beforehand, or they'll go and grab drinks after the show. That all filters into the local neighborhood. If you look at the amount of restaurants that were in the central business corridor on Madison Avenue in Covington 10 years ago versus how many there are now, it's a night and day difference. That is an arts venue really being part of an anchor for that stretch of road, an arts venue that is now closed down. Hufeld also said that he works with businesses that are nearby to let them know when big acts are coming so they can staff as needed. So that's where things stand right now. A weekend post made by Covington Mayor Ron Washington says the city has long valued the important role that venue played in bringing entertainment and visitors to downtown Covington. He says the economic development team for his city is ready to help with a commitment to keep the space active and productive. That is your big bite. We will be keeping an eye on what is to come for the now former Madison Theater. The idea of businesses working with each other to benefit everyone is an idea that Brendan Cull might know a little something about. He is the president and CEO of the Cincinnati Regional Chamber. He's my guest when we come back. Really excited about this interview. You are watching The Working Lunch on The Crown.
What is The Crown? It's simple, really. Authentic Cincinnati entertainment. Not hot takes from a studio 3 states away. Not national noise pretending to know this city. Rather, bringing a voice to those who call the Queen City home. Where can I watch The Crown shows? Join us live from 7 to 11 a.m. for First Word and 12 to 1 for The Working Lunch on RESN. No live TV? No problem. Stream and interact with all of our content on major podcast, broadcast, and streaming platforms. The Crown is Cincinnati. Loud, passionate, competitive. proud. From early morning sports debates to the business leaders shaping the riverfront, to the fans, stories, moments, and culture that make this place move. Live shows, podcasts, documentaries, digital content built from Cincinnati, for Cincinnati. This is The Crown.
Dinner! Dinner! Hey.
All right.
Whoa. Yeah. Yeah, big win! It was great.
How'd that feel?
Intense. It was good. Kind of a fight to the death, you know? That's cool. What?
And you got
Yeah, it's cool.
and you got right back up.
Yeah, it's cool.
All right.
Let's do it again.
Yeah.
Oh, tell you scored the punches to go through. I was really like, I did it!
Yes. All right, go ahead and keep going. If you keep going, you can come around and score points.
We do have a game coming up, so they tend to be a little more focused and like strict.
Now this green line is what you're trying to not go out.
Okay.
Going out, so now you have to go back behind. No, right behind our friend right here.
Okay.
Nice. Let's go.
Good one. We went butt. Okay. Hey. I got a big old tank, baby. I think I'm better skating backwards than frontwards. Ooh, everything's fine. Oh my God! You literally. I went full point.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Fast, hard. Yeah.
Wow! Oh my God! Yeah. Really did try to go hard.
Yeah, and you could have kept like, you could have went in hard.
Welcome back to the Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley. Glad to be joined by Brendan Cull, who is the president and CEO of the Cincinnati Regional Chamber. Brendan, welcome to the show. Glad to have you.
Thanks so much. I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have you.
Congratulations on the launch. It's great.
Thank you very much. It's been really exciting, and the interview portion of the show is something I really enjoy doing because I like to be able to get into people's stories and histories on things.
Yeah.
History-wise, for you, you've been with the chamber now for about 10 years, not necessarily in a leadership position that entire time. How has that? You've seen so much in the city change just in that time.
Yeah, it's been a wild decade. I started in 2016. I was hired by Jill Meyer, who was the CEO at the time, and she asked me to come over and join the organization as our chief operating officer. So really had a chance to learn from one of the great leaders in our community, Jill, and have had experience with the chamber that goes back even further, all the way back to my time working in at City Hall. So I've worked with various different chamber CEOs over the last 25 years, and it's a real honor to be in that role today.
Yeah, I mean, being the president and CEO of the Cincinnati Regional Chamber, that feels like you're juggling a lot. I know you're pretty frequently traveling. I would imagine there's always some sort of meeting coming up next on the schedule. Is it a lot to balance?
No, it's a great job. I mean, this is a great job. I mean, it is. For me, I have so much fun experiencing everything that goes on in this great region. And in this role, being able to connect people, to help create opportunity for businesses here, to bring people together, which is something that we are so good at the Chamber. It's the honor of a lifetime to be in the job. And fortunately, you know, my prior to coming to the Chamber, I spent 10 years at Kroger,
right.
Leading government affairs, and that actually had more travel than this does. My travel
no kidding.
In Cincinnati is really just around the region. I spend a lot of time here. We take one trip to D.C. every year.
Which just happened recently,
Which
right?
just happened. We took about 35 leaders from our community to Washington to meet with elected officials about various topics. And then we'll do a couple of trips, really one a year, where we take business leaders to another city. This year, interestingly, we're going to Charlotte, North Carolina, the Queen City in the other Queen City, although I think they copied that name off of ours. But
most likely.
It'll be interesting to learn about what's happening in Charlotte and see what lessons we can bring home.
How much of that is a balance for you as far as working with businesses here in the area? And that includes like the idea of people in the central business district where the offices are. And you still have a lot of neighborhoods in the city that also have businesses in them, big stuff, small stuff, and then also balancing things with government. I mean, you got to get businesses to sort of play ball with each other, and then also maybe representing the local business interests with politicians, which is a whole other form of communication.
Yeah, you know, we're primarily a business organization. My board is made up of business leaders from throughout the region: Northern Kentucky, northern suburbs, the city of Cincinnati, Hamilton County as a whole. So we're not limited to just the city of Cincinnati and its 52 neighborhoods. We obviously have, because our region has such an economic base in downtown Cincinnati, I've got quite a few board members and stakeholders who are kind of part of the urban core in Cincinnati. But we really try to look at things with a regional lens. How are things in this entire Cincinnati MSA, which is a 15-county region? It includes some parts that feel very rural, some parts that are exurban, and it really runs the gamut. And I love that. I love being able to think about how will a certain policy, how will economic growth impact that entire region. That's the lens that we try to come at everything with.
Yeah, and you know, having seen the way things have changed over the last 10 years. You talk about some areas that are somewhat rural, but then also are moving away from that and seeing development in a lot of parts of northern Kentucky that are really growing business-wise and certainly housing with apartment-wise. There's a lot of growth in areas that used to really, and even in Butler County. So much of that stretch of, you know, Tylersville Road used to be nothing, and now it's jammed up on during rush hour.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is a community that needs growth, and if we're going to thrive, for decades to come, we are going to have to prioritize adding people, which means adding housing, and it means adding new businesses and retaining talent that comes here. The student who comes here to the University of Cincinnati and has a great experience and co-ops with a Cincinnati or Northern Kentucky company, they likely want to stay here in Cincinnati. And so we've got to make sure that we've got neighborhoods that will welcome them with open arms and realize that, you know, a young graduate of the University of Cincinnati is the key to this region's future success over the next several decades. So that growth, when we talk about what we are trying to do, it's to make this a growing, thriving region where everyone belongs. That example I just gave really hits at that vision that we are trying to accomplish. Growing our economy, growing our population, and growing cultural vibrancy here in this community. And so that's why we do talk a lot about you know, growth in various different neighborhoods.
Yeah, those are some of the pillars of what the Chamber lists as what it, you know, really considers to be priority. And I was also looking through the Chamber's strategic plan, the 23 to 29 strategic plan, and I think the word growth was the focal point. That was sort of the main focus of that.
Yeah, if we did a word cloud with everything that I say and everything that we talk about, the biggest word on the page would be growth, and that's what we spend a lot of time talking about, because we are such an interesting region in that there are other parts of this community, parts of this country, where there are regions that have just always grown, or that they're experiencing enormous successful growth right now, where companies are moving from other places to locate there. those regions are really winning the war for talent. They're winning the war for economic growth. Cincinnati, the city, as you know, at one point, the city of Cincinnati had more than 500,000 people in it, and now has around 325,000 people in it. So Cincinnati's story is interestingly one of rapid growth, into the 1900s, and then really hitting a stall where the growth has been either flat, sometimes decreased, and sometimes just a little bit growing. What's happened more recently is that it has picked up, and that's a good sign. My contention is that it hasn't picked up fast enough, and so we've got to continue to do things, investing in this community, whether it's through some of the big ticket items that attract people here, through an economy that welcomes everyone and creates great opportunities at the beginning of your career, making sure that people who are here working, who graduate from a high school and technical school, can find a long-term career where they're not looking elsewhere to go. All of those come together to make sure that this is a region that can pick up its rate of growth, because that'll lead to a longer-term successful environment for us.
Because you've been able to sort of see the long view on things, what, in your opinion, was the reason why things sort of stalled out for a bit, and then what was the catalyst that got them to start growing again?
Oh, well, now we're going to do history questions. I mean, there were a lot of factors. I mean, the city of Cincinnati, obviously, many urban cities saw population declines when people could move further out. Obviously, the rise of the highway and the rise of the automobile changed some dynamics here. Our economy over time has been, we have such a diverse economy, so we have not had the same shocks that a Northeast Ohio has had.
Yeah, the Rust Belt type stuff, yeah.
Yes, I mean, I've had some people from out of town who don't know Cincinnati, and they refer to us as a Rust Belt town, and I'm like, you're not really sure. We're really not a Rust Belt town.
Well, that's just that sort of flyover country mentality.
Yeah,
they
kind of lump
right?
it all together in Ohio. Right. We've had this really diverse economy here, and I think that's a key to our success. But I also think that right now we've got this moment of great ambition where we have ambitious leaders in this community who are saying this should be a place where we should compete for every talent. This should be a place where we should have professional sports that are growing. This should be a place that is, winning the biggest events all over the country and world and having them locate here. We're number 2 in the country when it comes to office to residential conversions, and that's a good sign that we are making sure that we're thinking about our downtown and our urban core as a neighborhood and a place for people to live. You saw the great news last week about us being included in the Michelin Stars program for the Great Lakes region. Like that will add so much attention to our region. But that really undercurrent is about ambition, and that's what we've got to continue to have in this community.
For sure, and you talk about wanting to retain young people who are maybe going to school here. Yeah. Certainly UC and Xavier, and certainly Miami, all of the universities here in the area have really been developing their reputations. In terms of offering reasons to stick around, certainly all the Fortune 500 companies that are in this city are an attractive maybe baseline to it. You guys in the Chamber also have a number of leadership programs that you offer, or that you at least support and want to be able to enroll people in as a way to grow future leaders in this city. How important is that to you?
Our chamber. Not every chamber has leadership programs like we do, and I am so glad that we do. The team led by Sean Comer and the crew at our chamber, who focuses on Leadership Cincinnati and Sea Change and Cincy Next and Hello Cincy Executive and the whole Hello Cincy suite of programs, our We Lead program for women executives. All of those programs help create a stickiness in this community. They help people feel more rooted in Cincinnati, and they help people understand how this economy and community works. And so those programs are, I think, essential in terms of making sure that this is a community where people want to stay and where people feel like they belong. So we really lean into them. We do work with college students in our universities here locally.
Because you got to get the word out.
Yes, absolutely. And when they leave here, we want them to feel like their experience in Cincinnati was not just limited to what was happening on their campus. We want them to come to Xavier or UC or Miami and have a wonderful experience there, because those universities are great at making sure they have great experiences. Northern Kentucky as well, and Mount St. Joe and on.
Sure.
So yeah, I listed one, and you got to leave them off. Yeah. But then, while they're there, I want them to explore this great city, because the whole time a student who's not from here, or even a student who's from here, is in college, they are thinking about what their future life could look like. They're thinking about what kind of experience could they have in Cincinnati. And so that extends to what did they do on the weekends? What kind of restaurants did they find? Did they find a softball league? Did they meet somebody that they want to spend their life with? Mm-hmm. And those interactions are ultimately, that and the job, what makes them choose to stay in a community.
Well, and I think that the effort that you guys have and the focus that you guys have on really holistically trying to grow this area. It's not just about businesses making more money. It's not just about more people moving here and having homes to move into. There's also a focus on cultural vibrancy and the art scene, which all feeds into things, which is, I think, what's behind you guys putting on big events in this city like Taste of Cincinnati that we had recently. Oktoberfest is coming up. Blink is coming up after that. Those are huge events that are really unique to this area.
It is. I think it's true that I'm the only chamber CEO in the country who gets to tap the keg at the largest Oktoberfest in the United States of America, which is pretty great. A nice touch. But you're right. We also do Blink and Taste of Cincinnati. We partner with Asianati to do the Asian Food Fest. And now we're doing a bunch of events in Northern Kentucky as well, too, as part of our acquisition of Cold Iron, which was a great business deal that we did this year.
There's some pictures, the upcoming events. Oktoberfest is in September.
50th anniversary.
That's huge.
It's a big deal. People have been celebrating that here forever. It shocks me. It doesn't shock me how often someone says when they come to Cincinnati, you got to come to our Oktoberfest. And if you go down there, my colleague Chelsea York, who's part of our events team, has just done such a great job thinking about Oktoberfest down on the river. It creates a whole new experience for everyone.
Yeah, that was a recently moved event. And has that been taking well, being off Fifth Street?
Yes, it belongs there.
Yeah.
It just, when the first time it happened, everyone was a little, is this going to work? And then we got down there, we're like, this is where it belongs.
I think there are so many things that happen in this city, events that people put together, businesses that people start that, start out with the question, is this going to work?
Yeah.
And I think that there is such fertile ground in this region that more often than not, if you've got the right group of people, we talk about this on the show a lot, if you know somebody who knows somebody, you can really start to grow things.
That's a secret to Cincinnati, is that this is a place you can come and have a big impact quickly because you are a cup of coffee away from everybody. If somebody moves here today and they have a great idea and they do something ambitious and something big that is going to affect the future of this community, they're going to be on this show within 3 months of them being here, because that's how this community works, is that you can have access to platforms and networks to be able to grow your impact really quickly if you're onto something, which is a great place to be. It's
all about relationships, whether you're actually doing capital B business or whether you're trying to grow an organization, work your nonprofit, meet somebody. Boy, there's some nice pictures from Blink, which is also coming up in October.
Yep, Blink is going to be an absolutely tremendous this year, October 8th through 11th, and there's even some pre-events earlier on. We're going to have a great Ready, Set, Blink kickoff
just
on
up the street.
First night, just up the street. You'll be able to see it from here. This is going to be a hot location for it. So, Blink is really special. No other community in the United States does anything like this. The closest example is Vivid Sydney in Australia.
Yeah, it's on the other end of the world.
And it's on the other end of the world. You can come here and you can have just such a great experience. It is the kind of experience we have people who participated in the first Blink as visitors, kids who showed up and were marveled by the light and the art and the experience of being in our beautiful city, who are now artists who are a part of this year's Blink. And that's really special because that means we've got a decade of culture creation in this community, where there's a generation of people who now understand and have this relationship with their community where they can make art and make culture here. And hopefully they'll stay here for a long time and do that.
One more reason to stick around in this city. One more reason for you to stick around. We got to take a break. When we get back, we're going to have more with Brendan Call of the Cincinnati Regional Chamber. Stick around. You're watching The Working Lunch on The Crown.
what part of it do you think you struggled with the most? And I don't want to know about, the intricacies of relationships or whatnot, but what about the structure of your life at the time did you really have a hard time with?
Well, I guess it would be sharing so much information about my personal life. And just in the back end of things, I just never felt like they always just wanted more. And I'm like, well, I can't be more funny. Like, this is it. And I can't be, yeah, and like I've shared like very vulnerable moments. Like, I don't know what else you want me to do. And then at a point where I'm just like, I don't know if they value me.
I was just gonna ask, did you ever feel valued or appreciated?
At some points, and by most of my coworkers, yes. By some people in the building, like we just wouldn't see eye to eye. And I think that's gonna happen anywhere. It happens.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was mad, and I'm like, I can't give you any more than what I'm giving. Okay? And for a long time, I was just like, wow, I worked at this radio station, I gave them my life, and I wasn't good enough, and then I get let go. What do I do now? And for a moment, I was frustrated and upset, and like rejection sucks. But now I'm just like, they did me a favor. And honestly, like I grew so much in that time. I wouldn't have had social media, and now I'm like making a small business out of
You're
that.
a social media queen.
Thank
As
you.
somebody who went from 0 to 100, and you like really lean into it. I look at people like you, and I'm like, you like really lean into it and love it and do it well, and it's so great.
You're really sweet to say that, because then, just like the voice in your head, it's like, I'm not doing enough, I'm not creating enough, I need to post a picture today, I'm not gonna post a picture because it doesn't feel authentic, and then I overthink for 45 minutes, and so then it's like,
Dude, the pressure to post every day, I haven't thought about that.
I think I should get bangs, what do you guys think? And I'm like, that's the post?
It's a great post.
I'm not getting bangs.
But thank God. Okay. Can you?
Every morning, Cincinnati wakes up and gets to work. Companies are built, deals are made, restaurants open, ideas become careers, and every day the people behind it all sit down at the working lunch. Founders, CEOs, entrepreneurs, community leaders, the people building Cincinnati. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley, weekdays, noon to 1, only on The Crown.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you these stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
I like this studio.
Welcome back to The Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley, joined by Brendan Cull, the president and CEO of the Cincinnati Regional Chamber. You've been running things at the Chamber for a few years now. Where'd you grow up? Where are you from?
Well, I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, actually.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. On the northwest side, I went to a high school called Dublin High School, back when it was just the one high school. And I moved here to go to Xavier. So like the people that we're talking about in the last segment, folks who moved to Cincinnati to go to school, I want there to be more people who choose to stay here as well.
Yeah, do you remember, was there something specific for you that led you to say, hey, you know what, I want to stick around here and see what's happening in Cincinnati?
Well, there were a lot of things. I will point to the fireworks were, the Labor Day fireworks actually were a moment, and now that was early on in my, I got to, I'm 18 years old or 19 years old or whatever you are when you go to college, and we rode the bus downtown, and Labor Day fireworks were, it's such a uniquely Cincinnati thing. That's what really captivated me about the city. It was beautiful, and there were so many people down here, and you got a chance to see what the city looks like. But then later that year, my freshman year, I did an internship, a summer service internship in partnership with Xavier and the United Way.
I saw you posted about this on LinkedIn.
I posted about that on LinkedIn not too long ago. And that internship really, I think it was a summer here I was working, and reflecting on it, it helped me envision what a life would look like in Cincinnati. And I think that we have a program now that makes sure that interns who are here over the summer right now get access to what's going on in Cincinnati. So we take them to soccer match, we take them to Reds game, all those things that are happening in town, because I do think it sparks for people that they're starting to envision their life. Yeah. And if you can envision your life here and what your weekends look like and what your social life looks like, the job stuff falls into place because companies are hiring, they're looking for the talent that comes out of the university. We just got to work we have to work to make sure that we keep people here.
Well, and making them aware that certain things are out there. Like, you can be sitting in the nicest restaurant in the city, but if you don't have a menu in front of you, then you don't know what you can order or not. And the messaging on these programs like you guys are doing, and the internship stuff and service programs to give people such a wide variety of activities, things they can do to feel good about what they're doing and feel good about the city that they're living in. That's all right there. You just got to let them know about it.
It's true. And the same thing goes for our workforce efforts, too. My colleague, Audrey Treasure, who leads our Workforce Innovation Center, does a great job working with talent that is here, maybe talent that is relocated here, helping them find opportunities here, find opportunities for upskilling, connecting businesses to folks who are looking to change their life by changing careers or getting additional training. That work is really important too. All of those things go together from a recipe perspective that helps make sure this community grows. And I've been fortunate in my career to see this from so many different angles, from being at Xavier, working for a consulting firm right out of college, that was founded by Janet Reed, who's a great living Cincinnatian who did training across industries, going to City Hall and spending 5 years in the mayor's office, understanding how the city works, 10 years at Kroger, understanding corporate America, but also really how a best-in-class company chooses to engage with the community, and then bringing that all together in my work at the Chamber. If you get all of the things working right and working well together, you can really help improve the direction of a community.
Yeah, it feels like you were really on sort of a career path to exactly lead to where things are now, working in government, working on the corporate side of things, and now being in an organization that really sometimes has to juggle the two.
Yeah, and it's strange though, but if at any point you said, oh, well, this is all leading to you being, working as the CEO of the Chamber, Cincinnati Regional Chamber, I would have said, nah, that's crazy. Mostly my career has been about a series of opportunities and moments when either an idea came into my mind or a conversation with someone sparked something. I mentioned Jill Meyer earlier. She invited me out for coffee and asked me a few questions, and then was interested in whether or not I would join her at the Chamber, and described it as a life-changing adventure. And are you in need of a life-changing adventure right now? And turns out I was. And so it was a great experience.
Well, and then you get to then sort of have conversations like that with other folks to attract them to the Chamber and various other things, to people to advance in what they're doing. In your time doing the work for the mayor's office for Mayor Lucan and then moving into the Kroger role, what were some of the things that you learned in those roles that feed into what you're doing with the Chamber now?
So my experience working for Charlie Lucan when he was mayor was formative for me. I don't think I would be the person or leader I am today without spending 5 years in, a close partnership with him and learning from how he operated in the city. And what I learned from him was, first of all, he was a great listener. I mean, for someone who was, known for being on the news and known for being a congressman, he really listened well, and he knew so many people in this community. And so, in times of crisis, and we had our fair share of those, he would get phone calls or messages or drop-bys or emails. At the time, that was less frequent, from people all over this community, CEOs to neighborhood council leaders to just someone who lives on a street in Westwood, and they would have an opinion, and he would find a way to listen to what they were saying and understand it. He also, I think, over a lifetime had relationships all over this city, and I thought that was, something that I took away. He didn't narrowcast where his relationships came from. He made it a point to know people all throughout this community, and I thought that made him very effective as a leader. So,
being the mayor for everybody.
He was. I think it goes without saying that he was a great communicator. He was open to having conversation. He was not a scripted politician, which I appreciated about him. We had some fun with that, obviously, through the course of the years. But I think he was a terrific leader in this community, and I was fortunate to be able to spend that kind of time there.
Yeah, and communicating with him, communicating for him as the press secretary. Yeah, that's a lot. Speaking of a lot, you have, again, been at the Chamber for 10 years. Certainly the big metamorphosis that this city and this region has seen began a little bit before that 10 years ago, when you start talking about finally seeing the development at the banks and the revitalization in Over the Rhine. What do you think is an area in this region that still has yet to maybe live up to its potential, or something where you still see an area of growth that's untapped?
We don't have enough time.
Yeah.
And that's the best part about being in a city and being in a place like Cincinnati, is that there is almost a never-ending list of things that we should continue to be working on. And then guess what? When we're never going to get done with that list, and then we have to work on some things that we already worked on once to keep getting them better. So there's more work to do, obviously, at the banks. We have a CAPS over Fort Washington Way project that has been in the works since I worked for Charlie Lucan 25 years ago, where we put the foundations in at Fort Washington Way so that one day we would be able to cap this giant gash that we have in between downtown and our riverfront. We should finish that project. We are working on BRT, Bus Rapid Transit, which is a result of a levy that the Chamber and my colleague Pete Metz and Jill Meyer and so many other people at the Chamber worked on, plus Mayor Crumley and Craig Cassey and the SORTA board and everyone at Metro got together to pass a sales tax that reduced our earnings tax and increased our sales tax so that we could invest in transportation in our region. So we've got to finish the vision to make this a more connected community. We've got housing needs all over our community and great opportunities for that there. I think my friend Jeff Birding has been, I believe, here, or if he hasn't been here, he will be here soon.
We're working on it.
He will talk to you about the need for an arena, and I totally agree with him. We've got an arena that is, would have qualified for Medicare many years ago, and so that, though it is still a great place and you can still see concerts there, our city is calling out for a modern arena so that we can attract the greatest events and really continue to use that as an economic boost. So my friend Larry Crowder at the airport and CVG is looking at a total renovation of our CVG airport and what that looks like. So there's a lot to do here. And there's hundreds of projects that exist in your neighborhood alone. Not your, but anybody who's watching.
Capital Y, your.
Yeah. Be thinking about how you want to transform the community that you are in. And I think that is, if you choose to live in community, if you choose to live in a city in 2026, you have to roll up your sleeves. This is not... It's not a set it and forget it kind of environment. You have to find ways to get engaged, find ways to contribute, find ways to think about the future of your neighborhood or your street or your city as a whole. And the work that we do every day really tries to help business leaders and civic leaders do just that.
Yeah, the participatory element of it is such a big deal, and that helps to build the relationships, and then that helps to build the next thing that comes down the road. It's a rock that goes into the water, and then the ripples that just flow out from that. It's always really interesting. Big changes going on right now with the Brent Spence Corridor project. That's a whole other ball of wax that I don't know that we have necessarily time to get into, but that's, the idea of a challenge and an opportunity being sort of the same thing depending on how you look at it.
Totally. We worked on that the Chamber has worked on that for decades. Yeah. There was a whole plan to toll the corridor, and then there was an effort to try and find funding, and then the Senators Portman and Brown and Leader McConnell really came together from a federal perspective to help us fund the Brent Spence Bridge finally. Yeah. When they started putting out the orange barrels and the cones on I-75, I know that gave some people a fright. And for me, it was a little bit of a celebration. And so I know this is going to be a long project, but it's going to be, it's a multi-billion-dollar economic boost to our region. And when it's done, this is going to be a community that is more connected. There's going to be a huge development opportunity west of downtown with 11 acres that we worked hard to make sure that in the design of the project we're freed up for housing and commercial redevelopment as well. So I'm totally excited that we are going to have a little bit of pain on traffic because the long-term vision for that corridor is going to be so terrific.
There is so much going on in this city. There's so much going on in this region. Brendan Cole is the guy who's at the center of it all. Brendan, thank you for coming on the show. Really appreciate talking to you about everything that's coming, everything that's going, everything that's yet to come. Appreciate everything. We gotta go take a break. You're watching The Working Lunch on The Crown.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you the stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
The Crown has you covered. Start your day with First Word, Cincinnati's only morning sports show. Power through midday with the Working Lunch, Cincinnati business talk that keeps you in the know. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, and the Rebound Rundown covers every corner of the college basketball scene in the tri-state and beyond. This is The Crown. First Word for your morning sports, Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, the Working Lunch for business that hits home, and Rebound Rundown for college hoops. This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe. Cincinnati sports fans are the best. Loyal, passionate, second to none. This city lives and breathes sports, and now it finally has a morning show to match. I'm James Rapine, and this is First Word, the only morning sports show in Cincinnati and the place where every day starts. We break down the biggest moments and set the agenda for the city. Marissa Contepelli and Jacob Tissett join me to bring the insight and energy you need to start your day. The conversation starts with First Word. First Word, weekdays 7 to 11, part of the Crown Network.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. I'm doing it. How do you think I'm doing so far?
You're doing really good. Really good. You already got your shifting points down and stuff. You're able to shift, start it, brakes, all that. You're standing up over the bumps, which is what we want to do, and you've already got your crashes out of the way, and you're tough, so you're going great.
I must say, I'm like on a 110, which is like what little kids ride, and I'm like in gear 1, okay? And even in gear 1, I'm like, okay, you can do this, And now I'm on gear 2, so excited. One day I'll get to gear 3. But the main goal, I don't know, I really want to do a jump and like get some air and land it. So that's what we're going to do now on this one.
Yeah.
I think I can do it. If anything, I think I'm going to send it regardless.
You're going to send it regardless?
I'm feeling confident right now. See what
Alrighty. You want to be prepared for the landing is the biggest thing. Like, you don't want to hit and like lose your arms off the bars and just like crash. So
I'm just gonna cruise. Cruising! Woo!
I think with just a little bit more speed, you can maybe get some air.
You got it. Get bad, babe. Okay. Hey! Woo!
That was sick.
That was cool.
What do you think?
That was so much fun.
So much fun?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Thank you so much, Scott, and everyone at eSports MX. eSport MX, I've had a blast. My adrenaline is high. I understand why everybody does it, no matter what age. I mean, just start it. Brett, thank you so much. From our very own pro. Actually, how many pro bikers, pro motocross racers are there in the Cincinnati area?
Not so many. I think we have a couple, in Ohio. I think there's, maybe 4 or 5 total in Ohio.
Wow, and you're one of them.
Yeah.
What royalty today. Thank you so much, dude.
Of course, it was fun, and thank you for having me. I had a blast, and I always love, sharing my passion with other people. So
yeah, man, it's pretty rad.
Welcome back to the Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley. Big thanks to Brendan Cull for being a guest on the show. Had tons that we covered in that interview, but boy, still had more to go. You know, the idea that Michelin stars are a thing in this city very soon, that's huge. And that really is just the rest of the world catching up to what a lot of us knew in this city for a long time, is that the restaurant scene here is really great. Didn't have a chance to even bring up the new skyline on Fountain Square that opened. All sorts of pictures being put up on that. I guess people are getting into kettles. For the ribbon cutting of that. It was like a big thing, get into the kettle and get your picture taken. That is just a few of the things going on in this city that we didn't get to speak to with the Cincinnati Regional Chamber President. That's our show. Hey, thanks for watching The Working Lunch. Do you know about the other programs that we have here on The Crown? Well, let me let you know. First off, you can watch us in a variety of ways on television, also stream it live or on demand, cincycrown.com. We'll be back tomorrow morning. First Word with James Rapine. He'll be speaking with Marissa Contepelli and Jacob Tissett, that crew, about all the developments. Sometimes Paul Fritchner just shows up when there's big breaking news like we had this morning. Working Lunch at noon, and then Nat Tries That, the Nat Jones Show, all coming your way with various exciting things that Natalie Jones is doing. And let me tell you, she is cooking something up every single day. Check it all out. cincycrown.com is the website. This is The Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley. Thanks for watching us. We'll see you again tomorrow.